everyone. This is Brittnee Bonds, and welcome back to the podcast. Ooh, okay. So today, first off, I want to tell you this really amazing story that just happened in my life. So I have this year, my intention for the year. I don't really set New Year's resolutions because I feel like, well, for me, my resolution starts with my birthday because I really believe from a spiritual perspective, like your birthday is more of a marker in your timeline, in your lifetime than the New Year's. But we have, anyways, abundance. My word for my birthday year, for the year of the calendar is abundance. I am specifically financial abundance because for me, this is a really big thing to allow myself to receive and to grow in my own complete financial abundance in a way where it's meeting the lifestyle that I choose to live. So in the past, I've had a lot of financial abundance, but I was like, not managing it very well or giving it away or, I had like negative programming around money in the past because of how I was raised. I was raised in a religion where like money was seen as like this evil thing or, like literally there's a scripture that says like money is the root of all evil. And so, when you grow up with that programming, even though I grew up where my family didn't have money when I was young and then they had a lot of money when I was a teenager, I still had this programming around not allowing myself to keep like large sums of money in my life. And this year, this is what I am allowing myself to do. And I feel like the universe, the story that I have to share with you is the universe letting me know that I'm completely on track. So I don't normally go to the beach in the morning. I have my morning routine where I like it to make a podcast like this, or I do coaching, or, I create content for the week on my Instagram. I like to be at home, being in my little creative cave is what I call it. And I don't know, this day that I woke up, I think it was a couple days ago, I was just like, I really want to go out of the house. Like something is telling me in the universe that I need to go out. And so I went to my local cafe and I got a matcha and I was like, okay, this is great. And then I was like, I want to go to the beach. I needed to work on a slide deck for a project I'm working on. And I was like, I can just work on this while I'm at the beach with Afro. And so I just went there. I swam around. I did some business calls. And then it was just really nice. I was just like vibing. And then suddenly it was like 1 p.m. I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. I haven't had dinner. I haven't had breakfast. So I left and I was on my way home. And on the side so I'm driving with Afro on my scooter, right? I'm like, like going through Street-to-New. This little town that I live in. It takes about 5 minutes to get to my house from the beach. And there's a market nearby where I live. And, it's like a bustling street. Like there's like a bunch of stores. People are walking around. There's like a lot of people around, things happening. And I'm driving with Afro and I look down on the road and it looks like there's something on the ground. And so I pull over. You guys, I found $1,000 on the ground. I'm not even kidding. I look down and there's 10 $100 bills on the ground. And I just like pick it up and I'm like in shock and I like look around and I'm like, is this anyone's money? And there's no one around. This guy walks up and he like kind of saw me pick it up and we're looking at each other like I was just literally in shock. And he's like, what do you think you should do? And I'm like, well, there's this like Facebook group, like our conscious community. So I put it on there. I was like, I found something valuable outside of this place. Let me know if it's yours and what it is, and I'll give it back. I waited days and like nothing, so the universe just gave me $1,000. But this is kind of like not this extreme, but this kind of stuff has been happening to me a lot recently. And I'm just like receiving. I think, what I believe? I think that we have so much abundance of love, connection, money, whatever you want in your life. Like the universe is like trying so hard to give it to you. And a lot of us have negative beliefs where we don't believe that we are worthy of receiving it. And so we're actually blocking it. The universe is like, here you go. Here's this, here's that. And you're like, no, but what if it's unsafe? Or like, I don't know if I deserve it and this and that. And then we're just like pushing it away. And I'm just over here like, give it to me. I'm ready to receive. That's how I feel anyways. And then the universe is like, here's $1,000. There you go. Enjoy. Because I have a very strong financial goal this year. And I actually, yeah, it's happening. It's like happening a lot more easily and smoothly than I expected. I don't know. I try not to put expectations on it, but it's happening. And I'm like, I think part of it, the reason why it's happening is because one, I'm very, very focused. And two, I am only allowing in, I'm just like becoming a lot more strategic, I guess is the best word, about like where I put my energy. So I only hang out with friends where I feel like nourished and supportive and like, okay, I'm like, this is a good investment of my time and energy. Like I love these people. They're in my life. They're supporting me becoming who I am, like an even better version of me. Because there's on this island, it's so easy to get like there's so many people that want to hang out all the time, and most people are not working. They're on holiday mode here. And so you could just be flowing for months here and like hanging out with people, but not like actually getting anything done. And I'm like, I'm here to build an empire. Like I'm here to make money. I'm here to create impact. I'm here to like change the world. You know, I don't got time to just like be getting a cacao every 5 seconds. But I mean, like this morning, my friend Aaron came over and he like brought me a cacao, and, he's like my brother on the island and I love him so much. But like, you know, there's these people like him that I'm choosing to invest in that I've known for years, and we've gone through so much together. We've shown up for each other. And that energy that, you know, I invest in them and they invest in me, it amplifies. And so like for both of us, for these people and I, like my soul family here on the island, we are positively, you know, spiraling upwards together, and we all have our goals of what we're working on and like all this stuff. And then also when it comes to romantic stuff, like I'm only allowing in men in my life that are supporting me of me accomplishing this mission that I have. And for right now, it's financial abundance and the impact that I want to make in the world, and this house of pleasure concept that I'm building out, and this TV show that I'm creating, and like so many exciting things that I'm like just like want to be birthed through me. And if there is a romance in my life, then they better be giving me energy or, you know, supporting me in some way where it's like it's amplifying my life. Whereas in the past, because you know, I'm a lover girl. I love having romance and stuff, but I wasn't realizing how much it takes a lot of my time and effort and all this stuff. And that's okay. And like, that's a beautiful thing. You know, that is like us experiencing life. And for me, what is the point of life if we're not connecting with each other and like having these beautiful soul connections? But now it's like I have higher standards, I guess. So I'm like, yes, I'm here for the connection. I'm here for the romance, but also I need it and I choose for it to be something that's giving me even more energy and something that is like making my life even better. And because I know that's what I give in relationships, you know, like I think this is how most women are. It's like when we love someone, we're really energetically investing in them and showing up in their life where it's like making their life better. And I think as women, we could have higher standards. So like, for instance, there's a guy that I'm seeing, I think I shared in my last podcast that I met him at the last play party. We've been seeing each other this week. And you know, like last night we had a really great chat about like what we're both looking for in a relationship or a connection. And I said to him, I was like, I choose to have whoever I'm connecting with. Like I choose to be met in my dynamics. Like I don't want to be anyone's teacher. I've already done that many times. And I understand that as a woman, you know, like I have more emotional tools than I think most men, and also more connection to the spirit world and stuff. And I'm happy to share about that, but I don't necessarily want to be someone's teacher from the ground up. So if like someone knows absolutely nothing about it, or if, you know, as long as it's a solid energy exchange. So like, do they have something that they can offer me that I can learn from? And some people might be like, "Wow, Brittnee, that's so transactional. Like, what don't you just love someone to love someone?" And you know what I would say is like, yeah, if you're in a relationship with someone and you're learning a lot just by being around them, that's great. But like I've already done that since I was 18. I've been in relationships. So just the idea of being in a relationship with someone, I've already learned a lot of things about that. Like just like the being in relationship. I think that in itself is like an opportunity for growth for a lot of people, because like connecting with someone, sharing your life with someone, like all of the things that come up. But these are like things that you kind of like go inside of yourself and you learn just by being in connection to another person. I've already done that. So for me, like the way I look at relationships is like, what are we building together? You know, like when you're merging your energy with someone, especially in sex, you have the opportunity to, you know, raise your vibration. You have the opportunity to manifest things in your life. You have the opportunity to use this combined energy that you are merging together to make both of your lives exponentially better. So, you know, I had a friend, I mean, he's a guy, so he thinks of things in very masculine black and white terms, but he was like, yeah, relationships are like having a business with someone, you know, like it takes energy, it takes work, it takes investment. But if you do it in a way where you like, of course, and you have to love the person to make all of that worth it. But when you do it in a way where you really are investing in each other, the quote unquote business takes off and it's thriving and it's successful and it like gives you more things in your life, you know. I think if more people looked at it this way, we would actually have more successful relationships. Because when we're all just like looking at things as I feel like sometimes women are looking at things from a very strong emotional standpoint and men are looking at things from a very logical standpoint. But what if we mix both of those things together and like we're found the balance in the middle? Like for me, I look at it as like, yeah, I choose to be in love with this person and love being around them and find them attractive and like, you know, love sharing my feelings with them. And also in my everyday life, I choose for them to be showing up in my life where it makes my life exponentially better just by having their energy in my life, you know, like it inspires me to be a better person and empowers me to be more of my authentic self. Like it inspires me in my life to go out and do the things that I'm excited about. You know, I think that's what's beautiful about masculine energy is that it can focus us. It can like contain the feminine beautiful chaos of our emotions and also our creativity and like focus us to like make sure we actually create the things that we want to create in the 3D reality. At least that's what I need. And again, this is also polarity balance. So, you know, like just because I'm a woman, like I might have different energy in my body from a masculine feminine perspective than maybe another woman who's listening to this podcast or a man who's listening to this podcast, you know? So all you have to do is make sure that you are balanced wherever you are energetically in your body. Find someone with a polarity balance. So for me, I have a lot of masculine energy in me. I love to do things in the 3D. Like I have good boundaries on myself. Like, you know, like I know how to use my power. But I choose to lead in my, I choose to lead in my feminine energy. As I say that, I can hear my voice changing. I choose to lead in my feminine energy in my life. So I choose to have a man in my life that is leading more in their masculine energy. And so when we come together, our polarity of our masculine and feminine energy is balanced in each of us. Like this guy that I'm seeing that was over at my house last night, he's like very in his masculine. He's like a caveman. I jokingly call him my lion because he's, yeah, in many ways kind of like this big lion. I feel like I'm like a little antelope that he's like wants to eat. But anyways, I don't know. I don't have any solid updates about him. Okay, I'll share about this. We went to a sauna on Monday and the conversation, we were mostly with my friends and I think he was a little overwhelmed because we didn't expect to see all of them there and they're my best friends on the island and they are very protective over me. So they were like giving him, you know, some low-key interrogation. And also, so we ended up only being alone like within our own energy for like a half an hour of it. And then we've been chatting all week, but like we both like have been really busy. I've been super busy this week. So last night was the first night that we hung out in person. And, you know, we just started talking about like what we wanted in a relationship. And I was just saying like, I said to him, I can see that you are actually a very deep person and you have a lot of strong emotions, but you're not really sharing them. You're not bringing them to the surface. And for me, and even if we're end up just being friends, like I need you to give me something to work with. Like I am done being the woman who's like, I'm going to make you a project. Let me crack you open and create the safe space for you to finally feel safe to feel your emotions around me. It's like, no, like that man needs to go do his work. He needs to go learn the emotional tools and build the emotional intelligence in order to play the game of some sort of connection with me, whether it's romantic or friendship. I'm not going to be anyone's teacher. That's not sexy. That makes me feel like your mom. That kills the polarity. And also, you can hire me for coaching. Like, this is what I coach men on. But when it comes to a romantic relationship, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I said all of this in a really nice way to him. And he, I will give him the credit. He, listened. And he was like, I totally honor that. And he, felt into his body. And he, started to connect to his body. And he was, sharing with me. He's like, I'd never shared this with anyone. He was, sharing some real emotions with me. And also some vulnerability, the fact that he lives in Berlin, and he's like, it feels vulnerable to open up to you, and with the idea that I'm going to go back to Berlin in May, and I plan to come back here and buy something here on the island, but everything's up in the air. Basically this was not part of my 5-year plan. This is fucking Virgos. It's not part of my plan to fall for someone on the island. And I was like, that's fine. So what do you want to do about that? We can just be friends. We don't have to do anything. And he was like, no. I definitely want to explore this. I just wanted to be vulnerable with you. And I was like, I honor that, but this is what I need. And I also I'm not expecting anything either. I don't need anything from this connection. I am in abundance. I have an abundance of men coming into my life. For me, it's just more I'm very clear about what I want in a life partner. And so it's just deciding whether we're going to be friends, lovers, life partners. It's just kind of which category of connection are you going to fall into in my life? And it's okay if it's none of those things, but I know what I want, and I am getting it. It's just it's happening. And it was really beautiful. We just we actually were here, and I have 2 chairs like this. We were sitting here and had my legs wrapped around him, and we were just chatting, and then we went on the bed and cuddled for a while, and it was just really beautiful. I felt by the end of the night we were both really dropped into our bodies and our feelings, and rolling around, making out, and I think for me it's just there's a part of me that's do I need to wait for this person to be my do I need to wait for this person to be my life partner, or be in a dating situation with someone to have sex? Because at this point, it's been a while since I've had sex, and I miss having sex. So, but I really value myself, so I don't need to. I can self pleasure, I don't need to merge my soul with someone else. Because for me, it's not a casual thing. I have had casual sex in the past with friends. So this is what it is. If it was with friends, people in my life that are my friends and I love them, and we also have some sort of lovership, I can totally do that. I'm a collective being is what they call it, where it's in my community, if the energy is going, for me, it's energy. It's if the energy is going back and forth between us, and it's love, and we just love each other, and us making love is one more version of this expression of our love for each other, that's amazing. But if it's someone that I don't know if they're going to be in my life tomorrow, and we don't have any sort of commitment in each other's lives, it's why would I choose to spend all of this energy connecting with this person and merge my soul with them? So, we were in bed last night, and he was like, yeah, I would love to make love with you. And I was like, yeah. And I tapped his heart. I was like, yeah, but I need this thing to be open in order for us to make love, because otherwise I'm just making love to your body. I don't, that will just make me feel lonely. And he was like, okay, well, do you have any tips on how to open my heart? And I was like, I don't want to be your teacher. And he's like, I know, but just send me in the right direction. So I gave him a book to read. I gave him Brené Brown, Daring Greatly, I think is what it's called. It's one of my favorite books about emotional intelligence 101. I think it's a great book to try to start with. So if you're wanting to learn some stuff, highly recommend Brené Brown, Daring Greatly. It's a great place to start. Also, we were randomly talking about the Anunnaki and Bashar and all this stuff. And he was like, It was just cute because he's like, I was like laying on his chest and he's like, I feel like you're reading me a bedtime story. And he's like, keep going. I'm like, no, I want you to teach me something. And he's like, but I just love listening to you. And I'm like, I don't want our whole relationship to be me talking about all this stuff. And he's like, I could just listen to you all day long. He's so cute. But let's see how it goes. I don't know. He's going to take me on a date on Monday or Tuesday. I'm not attached to anything. And I just feel really clear on like what I am calling in, and I can feel it, you know, I can feel it. And I have so much support in my soul family. And, you know, I think when you have this like really strong support network, this romantic love becomes less, I don't want to say like, I think sometimes women get this thing where they feel almost like anxious about being in love but what they're really craving is like this connection. And from a tribal perspective, we actually got a lot, like traditionally when we were back in tribes, like thousands of years ago, like this is still in our DNA, it's still primal for us. We got most of this connection from our community. And then our romantic partner was like someone that we loved, yes, but we like made babies with them. We had like certain things that we were meant to do with them. Well, a lot of our day-to-day connection actually came from, especially as a woman, it came from the other women in your tribe, you know, or your elders or your children, you know, like it's a whole collective thing. It's not just, in today's world, we have compartmentalized all of this into our romantic partner. And honestly, that's a lot of pressure to put on one person. And I don't think it's like valid, you know? I don't think it works. I guess I'll say this. I have been in many relationships in the past, and it can work for some people, but for me, it doesn't really work. Because I've been in many relationships in the past where, you know, I had a great relationship with my partner, but I still felt like some of my needs, my emotional needs were not being met. And I realized now that it wasn't necessarily my partner, it was that I needed to have more of a community around me. I really believe that any successful partnership actually needs a whole community of people supporting it. That's my little tangent for you. I wrote some notes here, so I want to read some of them. It's just some little like downloads I was getting about sex. Like when you're having sex with someone, you're actually mixing. This is what I believe about sex. When you're having sex with someone, you're actually mixing your energy, and the goal is to go into spirit together and experience the idea of becoming one. You know, like they talk about God being the all that is, the one, the oneness. And this is what it is like when we go back, and you know, when we die and we go back to spirit, we experience this feeling of connectedness to everything. And right now we're choosing to have an experience here in this lifetime where we are individuals. We're choosing to experience the idea of separateness from all that is. And this is what our ego, our physical mind, is in charge of. It's like, okay, Brittnee is choosing to be this character in this video game right now that is this 3D reality. We need to make sure she stays alive. We need to make sure that she understands that she is an individual. And we need to make sure, like, you know, we get her to the goal of whatever her goal is that she's chosen in her physical mind. But then there's this spiritual side of us that understands, this is our soul, that understands that we are connected to everyone. We are connected to every being in the world. We're connected to the nature. We are all connected. And when we go back to spirit, we recognize this and we feel this. And when you make love, you can, if you do it in the right way, you can experience this for the time that you are making love. You can actually take your energy, you can raise your vibration so high that you energetically can go and tap into this all that is, this oneness. And from a scientific perspective, they actually call this the quantum field. It's really interesting that science is starting to put words to what we understand spiritually for, you know, thousands of years. But it's great. It's helping men to get into spirituality. So if that's what helps them to bridge that, I'm here for it. I love both. Like I have a balance of my masculine and feminine energy. So I love to analyze things from a masculine analytical perspective. I also love to feel my feelings and just intuitively get my downloads from my feminine. So it's all great. So I wrote here, my notes was, when I've had sex with higher vibrational people who have done the inner work to clear their trauma and their negative beliefs. So like in our bodies, our physical bodies are actually vessels for energy to move through us. And this energy, this life force energy, like when you think of your chakra points, like in yoga, like your head chakra, your throat, your heart, your sacral, your root, there's more, but you know what, you get the vibe, right? But like, this is the line of how the energy moves through your body. And when you have a negative belief or when you have trauma, it literally creates an energetic block in your physical body of how the energy moves through. And if you don't clear this in the right amount of time, it actually turns into physical illness. And this is what they're starting to recognize in science. They're starting to recognize this, that like physical illness is created through stuck energy in our body, and us like, having a negative belief about something, or I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not loved, or trauma where something bad happened and we got so scared, or, we got angry, or whatever it is, fear, and then we weren't able to release this energy in a way where it was getting out of our body, so it gets stuck. So this is what I mean about like someone I'm dating. I choose that they've at least started to do some of this inner work, because otherwise what happens is when I make love with them, my energy starts clearing this stuff out for them. And that's a lot of work. Or I absorb it into my body and start clearing it out in my body, because as a woman, you're being penetrated. So you're actually receiving a lot of this energy. So when I have made love with men who are higher vibration, and what I mean by higher vibration is they've done the inner work to clear out some negative beliefs or trauma, or just start learning these emotional tools where they're more connected to their bodies, and that naturally just starts clearing out the energy. Because when you build emotional tools, you're able to process the emotions as they come up in your life, and they don't get stuck in your body. And this is really important. And this is not us women's job to clear this out for you men. If you're listening as a man, go read Brené Brown. Go do a Vipassana retreat. I was talking to this guy last night because his friend's doing Vipassana and he's like thinking about doing it. Do some stuff that you can start learning these tools of like mindfulness and, they call them somatic tools. And this is like literally you experiencing the world through the sensations that are moving through your body. And when you're able to do that, you're able to honor the energy, honor the emotions, and just let them go through. So when I've made love with men that are on this higher vibration, they've cleared out this energy, this, trauma or this negative beliefs in their body. It means so that it's easier for us to go into spirit together. It means that we are able to just blast off together and get the downloads and feel more pleasure in our body. And, when you make love in this way, you come out of that lovemaking session and you have more energy. You are more excited to live your life. A lot of my girlfriends say like that they have a hard time like having sex with their partner sometimes because they're already so tired. And I'm over there looking at them like, what are you talking about? Like when I make love, I have more energy. I'm like ready to go, unless I'm making love with someone who's draining my energy. So that's maybe a deeper question for you, is like, if you're making love with someone and you feel more tired afterwards. I mean, there's one thing about like having just a really intense lovemaking session and then like you're physically tired. That's great. I love that. But like if you're energetically tired after making love and it just feels like it's more draining for you, you might want to start looking at what's going on internally and whether or not this is the right person for you to be making love with. So another question I will give to you is like when you're about to make love with someone, if you're man, woman, other, I don't care. The best thing to ask yourself is, do you want to merge your energy with someone who doesn't care about you at all? Or like, do you want to merge yourself with this person? Do they have good energy? And the reason why I'm saying about doesn't care about you at all is like, is this person showing up in your life that they care about you as a human, as a soul, as a being outside of this physical connection? Or if they're just like wanting to hook up with you, like, do you really want to merge your energy with this person and have like this transaction of energy exchange? If they're someone that they're not like really in your life for the right reasons, or if they're just showing up in your life briefly, or even if they're in your life and they love you, but they just like haven't done their inner work. Like, do you want to do it for them basically? Cause like for me, I'm over that. I'm over being someone's teacher. I'm over being the high priestess that is like healing the collective sexually. Like, I can't tell you how many men come to me and they make love with me and they just like walk away feeling more healed. And I'm over here like, yeah, now I got to clear your shit out of my body. And I know the energy works, so I can do it. But, if you're making love with someone and they don't really care about you that much, it actually, instead of going into the oneness and feeling more connected to everything, like, which is what you do with someone where they care about you and they, they have good energy, you can leave that lovemaking session, that's having sex, and you can feel more separated and more lonely. And this is what a lot of people feel after like a one night stand or a hookup, because they can feel energetically that they did this energy exchange and it wasn't a positive energy exchange because the person didn't care about them. And if you're making love and you're not caring about someone and you're merging your energy with them, it's only going to make you feel more lonely afterwards. Because I don't know how to put it in a different illustration where it makes sense, but it's like, like you're signing up to go on this journey with someone to go to find some treasure. And instead they're just kind of like running and like taking the treasure and running away. And it's like, I don't know, that was probably a bad illustration, but I'm basically just trying to say that like making love is this like really amazing, pleasurable adventure if you're doing it with the right person for the right reasons, and you can find some treasure of like extra energy. I have manifested so many things while having sex with someone. I've literally gone into the quantum realm, gone into spirit, and like pulled things back. And there's a whole thing I could make a whole fucking course about sex magic, but almost everything I've had in my life I have manifested through sex. And even right now, while I'm not having sex with another person, I still have a lot of self-pleasure sessions where I am manifesting things. I will listen to, this is such a funny thing to say. I made this affirmation about like what I'm choosing, I want choose for my life to be. So it's like a vision board that I turned into a audio manifestation of like, but I act as if I recorded it as if I already had this life. So like, like I talk about my life as, I have these things accomplished. I have this amount of money. I have this kind of relationship, and I'm so grateful for all of it. I will listen to this while I masturbate, and I will literally do sex magic on this, and it's beautiful and it works. I'm telling you, it works. Okay. I wrote other things. Oh, wow. Okay. This is a whole thing. This is a whole story I have to share with you. So, I told you that my stomach has been hurting recently. Well, part of the reason, I would say the main, this is very vulnerable to share. Okay. So I saw the woman that my ex cheated on me with. Her name is Celine. He has already named her. I don't fucking care about naming her. She knows what she's done, and it's not the German Celine. That's someone else. This woman is French. And I haven't seen her since like last October when I got back from the States. And she messaged me and was like, hey, I want to meet up with you and say sorry. But the way she was messaging it was like as if she wanted to, it wasn't really her taking responsibility when she messaged me in October. And it was just kind of like her saying like there's stuff of that you don't know that Faraday said about you, and like kind of just more bullshit that he did. And I was like, fine, I don't care if that's like, I believe her. I know he was like playing both of us and trying to just have his cake and eat it too, and just really acting like a child. I don't even want to give him credit for being malicious. I think he was just like, he's just literally a spoiled child. And that's really all there is to it. And that's why I'm not in love with him anymore, and I never will be. But this story is about sisterhood. So I'm not going to talk about my ex anymore, but the vibration I got from her when she reached out to me in October was that she was not actually taking ownership for what happened. Because she was acting as if like this just happened and I don't know, and like he told me you guys had broken up, but the thing is that she didn't realize was that Faraday had lied to me multiple times after I got back from Japan, when all of this stuff blew up last summer, and I didn't believe him. I could feel that he was lying to me. So I did my little Scorpio thing, and I went on his fucking laptop, which his WhatsApp is connected to. I'm not proud of this, but I also felt like I was being gaslit and lied to, and I needed to understand what reality was. So I went on his WhatsApp and I saw the messages that him and her were sending to each other, and they were completely being so vicious about me behind my back. And this whole time when I got back from Japan, I was trying to meet with them both. Like Faraday was still living in my house, and I was still trying to meet with them both and see if we can figure out a healthy arrangement for all three of us to like coexist. I was still like doing everything I could and they had like cheated, like they had broken our agreements. They were like saying stuff like she doesn't understand our love and like fuck her and like all this stuff, and like really being really mean about me while I'm sitting there like my heart is breaking in half, and like they're seeing each other every single day, and like they won't meet with me, the three of us. And Faraday's coming home and like lying to me and telling me a whole different story, and like he wants to be with both of us, and telling her he wants to only be with her, and telling me he only wants to be with me, but maybe he also wants to be with her and he doesn't know. And just so much bullshit, right? So she didn't realize that I had read all these messages, and so I actually understood her attitude when this stuff was going down. And then in October, she tried to act like I was just this innocent little butterfly that just, you know, came along, and he just caught me and I don't know what happened. And I was like, I said to her, I only can meet with you if we have a mediator, because I can tell right now that you're not actually taking ownership. And I don't think you realize how much pain you have caused. And I am so angry still about this. And it wasn't even about my ex-boyfriend. It was about sisterhood, because this woman was someone that I thought was my friend. And I even had invited her to a play party, like as a guest, and she had hooked up with Faraday, and they had broken a boundary in the play party already. And so there was already like tension between her and I and him. And I had said to him, I was like, I know that she likes you, but like I don't understand why you guys have to like break boundaries and stuff like this, like especially in our play party while I'm hosting a play party. And then I go to Japan, and like they immediately hook up together and like break our agreements and basically like break my heart in the process, right? But I think something I want to say here is that the reason why I'm saying all of this is I think as a collective of women, we need to heal our sisterhood wound. Like a lot of men are not actually main characters in these stories. It's the woman with other women. And if women were actually showing up in a way where we're owning our shit, and we're showing up for each other, and we have each other's backs first before the men, and we have been so much programming in today's world where women are constantly seeking men's attention and validation, and don't understand that the real main characters in these stories is sisters with sisters. Like that is actually what matters in this world. It's not about the men and who you end up with and who you have babies with. It's like, are we showing up for each other as women? Are we like really having each other's backs? Because at the end of the day, from literally a primal perspective, this is what matters more. And this is also super interesting, especially on this island, because it's a fucking village here. That from a community standpoint, if you fuck with women here and like other women find out, you will get what we call ostracized. You will get kicked out of the community, as this woman has happened, at least within my community here. And it's a big chunk of the community here. People know what happened. They do not want to hang out with her. And it's like, if you show up in this way, there's going to be consequences. And I know that for her, she was looking at my ex-boyfriend as like a potential baby daddy. Like she literally wanted to lock that down, have him be her primary partner, be in a monogamous relationship with him. And she didn't care that he was already in a relationship, and she was doing everything she could to make that not happen. Hey babe, just 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. My girlfriend just got here because we're going to make a podcast, but I need to finish this one. So, anyways, she wouldn't meet with me with a mediator in October. And then I just I connected her with the mediator which was a man, a male friend of mine. I actually had two mediators, friends who offered to be mediators, but they were both men. She said, I don't feel comfortable meeting with you and another person because I would feel ganged up on, and it's already hard enough for me to meet with you. And I just said, okay, but I don't think you understand. The reason why I want a mediator is like this person is actually going to make sure that I stay in check, because I'm so angry and I need someone to hold space for me because I'm so angry. And I don't feel like you're really I don't feel like she was really holding herself accountable and like showing up in a way where she was really taking responsibility, and therefore I didn't feel like she could hold space for my pain and my anger. And so if she's not going to hold space for that, then I need someone else to, because for me, I'm Scorpio, all of my chart, sun and moon in Scorpio, many other things in Scorpio. So if I'm in a situation with someone where I don't feel safe and I don't feel like they're honoring my feelings and, You know, like she created so much pain. The situation created. I take responsibility for being in a situation with a man child. I take full responsibility. I take full responsibility for the fact that there were so many fucking red flags. He'd already broken so many boundaries up until this point. And I think at this point, he just thought he could do whatever he wanted and I would stay. But this was, and also I take responsibility that I got out and I said, no, this is below my standards. So it was an opportunity for me to choose myself. But the sisterhood, so like all of that with my ex, I've already worked through most of this stuff, and it's taken me a lot of therapy. It's taken me a lot of crying. It's, you know, I've done the work. I went to Burning Man, cried my way across the world, came back. But the sisterhood wound. So the reason why I'm bringing this story up right now is that she said, I don't want to meet with a mediator. I said, okay, you know, here's my friend. You can always reach out to me through him. And then this was in October. I didn't see her until like 2 weeks ago. I saw her at the beach. Like I was there with all my friends. She was like handing out flyers for something. And she acted like she didn't see me, but then she told a mutual friend of mine that I was with, that she saw me. Like, oh, I saw you were with Brittnee or something. And I got really triggered. I was like, really? It was like, I recognized like, oh, all of this pain is still here. Like it has not processed. And, you know, I'm in therapy right now. So I had a therapy session about it. And there was a part of me that was like still so angry at her. There was a part of me that just wanted to make it go away. Like literally just wish she just didn't exist. And then there was like the adult in me that's like, this is an opportunity to heal this. You know, this is actually a loop. Like this is a very similar situation with so growing up, I have 2 sisters and my mom and my dad. And my sisters and my mom were always vying is the worst word. They were always vying for my dad's attention. And they would have my back and show up for me up until the moment that my dad's attention was, you know, his approval, his attention, whatever he wanted was at stake. And suddenly they would side with him. And my dad was like specifically very abusive towards me growing up because I was the only one that would fight back and like tell him like, you know, I would stand up for myself, where he would be abusive to my sisters and they would just take it and be like good girls. And I was like, no, this is not okay. Even as a little kid, I was like, I don't deserve this, you know, like stop yelling at me, please. And like, and cause he would go in like rage fest where he would just start screaming and throwing things. And I was having none of it. Even as a child, I was very stubborn. I was just like, no, I deserve to be treated better. And so this situation was very similar to how it felt growing up, where it was like the women around me had my back up until a man got involved. And then they just like were like, fuck you, stab you in the back, betray you, you know, say things about you. Like the Celine woman, she was saying bullshit about me to my current boyfriend at the time, trying to convince him to break up with me. And also, I mean, he wasn't saying nice things either. I think he wanted to break up with me, or he just wanted to complain to someone. I don't know. Like we were having problems, but like you can treat people with respect. You can be nice. You can just end it in a graceful way. You know, you don't need to go and cheat on your partner and then talk shit about them to another woman. And then, you know, so much. But it's all like, you know, when I talk to like some of the elders in my community, like those people that I view as like my mentors and good friends, one of them, he was like, Brittnee, I want to feel for you, but also, you know what I think when you say all these things? I just think these are children. I don't care how old they are. You are energetically dealing with children. And when you energetically deal with children, what do you expect? They are going to act like children. They're going to throw tantrums. They're going to talk about you. They're going to be angry because they want mommy to, you know, they want mommy's attention. And I'm like, I'm not anyone's fucking mom. Anyways, okay, back to my story. So I saw her at the beach. This is what, February now? So this is like almost a year later since all this stuff happened. And I'm someone who's like, I'm here for growth. I don't want to be looping. I already feel like I loop a lot on some of the situations, but it's because I'm trying to figure out how to heal it, right? And especially when I start recognizing that this is like childhood stuff. Like what I recognize is that what happens to us as children comes up. We literally attract these situations into our lives as adults because we want to have what's called a corrective experience. We want to heal it. We want to attract in a situation that is very similar, but not quite as painful, maybe a little bit painful, but not as quite. And then we want to have an outcome that is better than what it happened to us as kids. And so in this situation, I was trying to ask myself, like, because this is not the first time a woman in my life has betrayed me for a man in my life. I had this when I first got to the island, where I came with a boyfriend. We already knew we were going to break up, moved into a house with friends. None of them knew him. I was the one who knew all of them from Chiang Mai. But everyone was down here for COVID. And one of my girlfriends in the house ended up getting with my boyfriend behind my back and was just kind of like, fuck you. Like, he's mine now. And I was like, what about sisterhood? You know? And then she got ostracized from our whole community for it. And it's like, what are you women doing? Do you not realize that, like, at the end of the day, if you fuck your sisters over, you have nothing. No one wants to hang out with you after that. And like, the man is not worth that. So anyways, in this current situation, I recognized that this was a situation I was attracting in. I was trying to figure out, how can I heal this within myself? So I did a lot of therapy sessions on it. And then I recognized that the way for me to heal it was I talked to a girlfriend of mine. She said, like, why don't you offer to this woman to have, like, if this is a sisterhood wound, why are you trying to have a mediator be a man? And I was like, this is a good point. Why did I not think about this? And she was like, why don't you offer to her that, like, you bring a woman and she brings a woman, and then you both have a mediator, so no one feels ganged up on. And those mediators are just there to, like, hold space and make sure that both of you are, like, you know, being nice and stuff and having your needs being honored and safe. And then, you know, just see what happens. So I messaged her. I offered this, and she saw the message. She didn't respond. But you know what I find is really interesting is after I sent that message, for me, the energy cleared. I don't need to meet with her anymore because this is what I realized, within all of this is just words. Everything in our life is an opportunity to heal this within ourselves. It's everyone on the outside. It's actually just these characters that we attract into the movie that is our life. So the movie that is Brittnee Bond's life had a part in it in the beginning where women in her life, you know, fucked her over or betrayed her for men's attention. And then as part of her movie, she attracted in the situation again later in life. And then she was able to heal this within herself. So, and then I got what's called a Chinate song session. So people are like, what the fuck is a Chinate song? Chinate song is a Chinese medicine stomach massage. So, but it's specifically for clearing out, like in your belly, clearing out emotions that are stuck in your belly. And a lot of this is like, this could be generational trauma. This can be like recent trauma. This is just like anything that needs to be cleared out. So one of my best friends on the island, her name's Jasmine. If you want to get one of the sessions from her, I highly recommend. You can reach out to me on Instagram. I'll give you her contact. She came over and she was like, babe, because my stomach was hurting for like a week, you know, around this situation. And I felt like basically constantly nauseated. So she came over, she gave me a session for like 2 hours, and I could feel energy going from my stomach up to my heart. It was like pains of like, felt like tentacles of pain, like shooting into my heart. But I also just felt a huge like energetic release, and also like physically better because I was really in a lot of pain in my stomach. And she said to me, she's like, I cleared a lot of things from your spleen, which is like where your like fight or flight responses. So she's like, basically there was a situation that happened in your life that created this feeling of like, I need to run away or I'm not safe. And this has been basically stuck in your system. And I was like, this is what happened when I got back from Japan like a year ago. I've been like literally carrying this around in my body for a whole year. And this is why I love somatic work, because like, yeah, you can sit there and sit with a therapist and like mentally try and figure it out. But some of this trauma is actually stuck in your body physically. And then like, and getting somatic therapy can like jumpstart the emotional process of healing it, you know? Because even in the session, I was like seeing a lot of things. I was getting a lot of downloads. I was trying to understand, you know, my fear around romantic connections recently. Like I was like, I didn't even know I was scared of, and like, of course I've been scared of it because the last person that I opened my heart to like fucking betrayed me and then put it all over social media, you know, and is still like not a nice person in my life, you know, it's not a safe person in my life. And so like, of course it's scary for me to connect with someone new. I was like, oh, I'm okay, just honoring that. And then when I honored that, I'm like, now I'm excited to connect with someone new. And I feel a lot more open to romance these days. And I feel a lot more, like since that session a couple days ago, the stomach massage session, I feel a lot more soft in my body and just like, yeah, just receptive and like allowing the good stuff in. And also I just feel so grateful for my sisters, you know, the women in my life that like really fucking have my back and show up for me. And like, it doesn't matter if a man is in my life or not, or if they have a man in their life. It's like, we are each other's number one, you know? And also something I want to say is that, I have had a couple situations in my life recently where men in my life that I love very much have, basically there's been situations in my life recently, I'll just say it like this, I can't go into too much detail, but where I could have been the other woman, like basically men in my life that were already in relationships, or, you know, like we're in an open relationship or something where it was like I could have crossed sisterhood boundaries. And I chose not to. I was like, no, you're already occupied. You have this partner. What the fuck are you doing? Or like, you know, like, no, my relationship with this woman is more important than this temporary connection with you, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, women come first. And I just felt so much power and like so much in my integrity with this, because I think like, especially for me, I am a very sexual creature. And I think like in the past when I wasn't as aware of my sexual energy, I had leaky sexual energy, or I was like allowing men to kind of like play with this energy and use it for whatever they wanted to. And now I'm like completely in control of my own sexual energy. I know when to let it out and when to not let it out. And I also do not let men manipulate it, you know? And so I'm saying this to all of you women, that especially if you're a sexual being, like allow yourself to be that, but also honor the fucking sisterhood, you know? Like women come first. And if you are not honoring sisterhood, it's only going to come back into your life in a way where it's going to mirror back to you. Karma comes back around. And I say all of this, and like, yeah, in my early 20s, I wasn't so much honoring the sisterhood, and I really take responsibility for that. Like I had times where I was, using my sexual energy or letting it be used where it wasn't honoring the sisters around me. And then I woke up to it and I changed and I became a better person. And now that is my standard for myself and for any woman who comes into my life. So like, if you really want sisterhood in your life, you need to be a woman who is trustworthy and be in your integrity yourself. And if there's a man around and you want his attention, another one of your sisters wants, you know, I have one of my best friends on the island. Her name's Moni. And her and I happen to attract in the same men. We're not even talking about the same type of men. We have had so many situations where we're like talking about a man and I'm like, wait, what's his name? And she like tells me his name. I'm like, I've already hooked up with him. Or like she'll tell me, or I'll tell a story and she's like, wait, I know that guy. Oh my God, I went on a date with him. And it's like, we literally have the same type and we literally connect with the same men on the island. And so now we have this girl code where it's like we're connecting with a guy. And if we know the other one of us has already connected with him, we do a check-in before we connect with him romantically. We're like, hey, you know, I know that you hooked up with this guy. Like, is it okay if I do? Or like, do you want a deeper connection with him? And usually the answer is like, go for it, girl, have fun. But like, there is a sisterhood trust that is being built by doing this check-in, you know? And if one of us is like, no, I actually want to explore a romantic relationship with him, then I'm like, go for it. Like there was one guy that I connected with on Bumble, and I remember her talking about him like before, but she had left the island to go on a trip. And so I messaged her. I said, hey, I connect with this guy on Bumble, but like I don't want to engage with him until you tell me like what you're doing with him. Like do you claim him? And she's like, well, you know, I was thinking to explore something with him when I got back to the island, but like if it's flowing with you, go for it. And I was like, babe, it's flowing with me that you and I are connected. I do not care about this guy. Like you can have him, go for it. And she told me later, like, wow, that really meant a lot to me, because it wasn't even about him. It was the fact that like, I was like caring more about our sisterhood than I cared about this connection with this guy. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I honor it, you know? And I feel like if we all did, then, you know, the world would be a better place. Just putting that out there. What else? Okay. I think I'm going to go now because I'm going to make another podcast with my friend Alaska. So it'll be the next episode. But the last thing I want to say is I've been really enjoying doing these pleasure school sessions. So if you haven't heard about this, I host sessions online and in person in order to help you to grow in your own sexuality. So this can be an individual session, or this can be you with your partner. I specifically really love working with couples because I've been in a partnership for most of my life. So there's sometimes I can just like look at a couple and ask a couple questions, and then I know exactly what they need help with when it comes to their sexuality, their connection, the polarity, all the things. So if this is something that you're interested in, and you would like to feel more connected to your sexuality, you would like to feel more pleasure, you would like to feel more connection to your partner, you'd like to feel more connected to your heart and feel safe to open up, like message me, let's do a session. I'm really enjoying hosting these. And I feel like I have more things to say, but I'll just share it in the next episode. I did a modeling photo shoot this week with a pleasure toy brand that's based in Bangkok, and I'm really excited to work with them more. And it's just something I was manifesting, like to have brands under my House of Pleasure concept that I can partner with and just like expand it and grow, and like collaborate and stuff like this. And I just love working with companies that are like women led, and they're also all about lightness and safety and pleasure. And I just like, I don't know, just sharing that. So also if you're a brand and you're pleasure brand in some way and you want to partner or collaborate with me, please reach out, because I'm always open to it, especially brands that are women led. Like that's where I'm at. I think if all of us women got together more, we are being more powerful together. Okay, I will see you guys in the next episode. I hope you have a beautiful day.